$230 million, fully guaranteed, every single penny. That is what the Cleveland Browns handed Deshaun Watson, and right now, at this very moment, a sixth-round rookie nobody even remembers getting drafted is taking better care of the football than he is. Let that satisfying little piece of irony wash over you for a second. Because what is happening at Browns training camp right now is not just a bad stretch. It is not just rust. It is not just a guy getting back into the rhythm of things after a long recovery. This is a full-scale quarterbacking meltdown happening in broad daylight, and almost nobody in the mainstream media wants to say it out loud. But here at the NFL Update, we are not almost nobody. We say what needs to be said when it needs to be said, and right now, this needs to be said louder than anything else happening in professional football. Before we break this entire disaster apart piece by piece, I need you to do one thing for me right now. Drop a football emoji in the comments if you think the Browns need to move on from Watson immediately. Just that emoji, nothing else. I want to see how fast that comment section fills up because I already know what every single one of you is thinking. Now let me show you the numbers that prove it. 4 practices. That is all it took to expose everything. Deshaun Watson has completed 58 of 90 passing attempts through the first 4 sessions of Cleveland Browns training camp. 64% completion rate. Now on the surface, if you just glanced at that number and moved on with your day, you might think things are fine. You might think the quarterback is functioning at an acceptable level. You would be dead wrong. 3 touchdowns against 6 interceptions. 6 times in 4 practices, Watson put the football directly into the hands of a defender who did not earn it. 6 times he made a decision so flawed, so broken at its foundation, that the opposing defense did not even have to scheme their way into a takeaway. He gift-wrapped it for them. And if you are sitting there thinking maybe those picks were the result of tipped balls or bad luck or receivers running wrong routes, understand that today alone he threw 3 interceptions in a single session.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
3 picks in 1 practice, against his own defense, with no live pass rush, with no 300-pound lineman crashing into his chest, with every possible advantage a quarterback could ask for in a controlled environment. Now compare that to what is happening right next to him on that same field. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie, the first-round pick who has never taken a regular season NFL snap in his life, has completed 64 of 91 attempts with 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. 1 pick across 4 entire practices versus Watson's 6. Dillon Gabriel, the third-round selection, has gone 13 of 46 with 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Even the developmental guy with the smaller sample size is matching Watson's touchdown to interception ratio. And then there is Dorian Green, a 6th-round pick, the kind of player who usually spends training camp just trying not to get cut. 14 of 17 with 0 interceptions. 0. A player who was barely drafted is protecting the football better than the most expensive quarterback in the history of the sport. If you are watching this on the NFL Update and you are not subscribed yet, you need to fix that right now because we are the channel that puts these numbers side by side and lets you see the full picture instead of the cherry-picked version everyone else is selling. Hit that subscribe button and stay locked in because the numbers were just the appetizer. What the film reveals is the main course, and it is going to change how you see this entire situation. Statistics can mislead you. They can be dressed up, presented out of context, manipulated to tell whatever story someone wants to sell. But the film never lies. And when you actually sit down and watch Deshaun Watson throw the football in 2025, something uncomfortable becomes impossible to ignore. This does not look like the same human being who terrorized defenses in Houston, not even a diluted version of him. The physical gifts that once made Watson one of the most electrifying quarterbacks on the planet have deteriorated to a point where watching him throw now compared to watching him throw then feels like watching 2 completely different athletes. In Houston, The ball exploded out of his hand. He could fire lasers from any platform, any arm angle, any body position, off his back foot across the middle of the field into a window the size of a dinner plate. Rolling left and launching a deep shot down the sideline that arrived before the safety could even react. The velocity was special. The precision was elite. The combination of the two was what made defensive coordinators across the league lose sleep before playing him. Watch him now. The ball is floating. On intermediate routes where the throw needs to arrive with force and urgency, the football is hanging in the air like it is waiting for permission to come down. Out routes that require sharp, decisive placement are drifting instead of cutting through the defense. Comeback routes are arriving late, giving defensive backs the extra half second they need to close and make a play on the ball. And when the ball hangs like that at the NFL level, defenders do not miss. They close the distance and they make the quarterback pay. That is not bad luck. That is diminished arm strength meeting elite defensive athleticism. And the result is interceptions that look routine for the defense because the throws are making their job easy. But here is where the excuse of physical limitations runs out of room to hide. The mechanical issues are real, yes. The velocity decline is observable and concerning. But the decision-making failures Watson is displaying on tape cannot be blamed on a sore shoulder or a healing Achilles. He is locking onto his first read like his eyes are glued to one spot on the field. When that primary target is not open within the first 2 seconds of the play, Watson is not sliding to his second or third option the way a veteran with 8 years of experience should do without even thinking about it. He is staring, waiting, and then forcing the ball into a window that closed before he even started his throwing motion. One of his interceptions from today was a perfect example. He rolled right, locked his eyes on a crossing route, completely ignored the safety sitting in the intermediate zone, reading his eyes the entire way, and delivered the ball directly into that defender's chest. That is not a physical problem. That is a processing failure. That is a quarterback whose mental clock is no longer synced with the speed of the NFL game. And what is emerging on the other side of this quarterback room makes that reality even harder to deny. While Watson has been compiling one of the most alarming training camp performances in recent memory, Shedeur Sanders has been doing something quietly remarkable.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
He has been making this look easy. And at the NFL update, we do not throw that word around carelessly because nothing about the NFL is supposed to be easy, especially not for a rookie quarterback in his very first professional training camp. But Sanders is operating with a level of composure and efficiency that does not match his experience level, and that gap between what you would expect from a first-year player and what he is actually delivering on the field is what makes this situation so fascinating and so devastating for Watson simultaneously. 64 of 91 through 4 practices, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Those numbers alone would be impressive for any quarterback at any stage of their career. For a rookie still learning the playbook, still adjusting to the speed of professional football, still figuring out the tendencies of NFL defensive backs who are faster and smarter and more technically sound than anything he faced in college, those numbers are genuinely extraordinary. But the stat line does not even capture the most impressive part of what Sanders is doing. Watch him go through his progressions on a given play. His eyes move from his first read to his second to his third with a rhythm that looks practiced and deliberate and calm. There is no panic. There is no moment where you see him freeze because the defense showed him something he was not expecting. He processes the information the defense gives him, identifies the soft spot, and delivers the football before the window has a chance to close. He is throwing with anticipation, releasing the ball before receivers finish their breaks because he knows where they are going to be based on the route concept and the coverage shell. That is not something you can teach a quarterback who does not already have it wired into his brain. That is football intelligence operating at a level that translates immediately from the college game to the professional game. Compare that to Watson staring down his first read and waiting until the play dies around him. Compare that to Watson floating a ball into a closing window because his processing speed cannot keep up with what the defense is doing. Compare that to Watson throwing 3 interceptions in a single practice while the rookie standing 15 yards away on the next field throws one across the entire camp. The gap is not subtle. It is not something you need a trained eye to identify. It is visible to anyone paying attention, and the coaching staff is paying closer attention than anyone. If you have been riding with the NFL update and you are not subscribed yet, now is the time to lock that in. We are going to be tracking every single throw, every single decision, every single development in this quarterback battle as it unfolds, because this is the biggest story in the NFL right now, and we are covering it like nobody else. Hit subscribe and let's keep moving because the excuse machine is about to get a full examination. Every single day that Watson struggles, a fresh explanation materializes from somewhere inside or around the Browns organization designed to soften the blow and buy more time. It has been happening since the moment he first looked shaky in Cleveland, and the pattern has become so predictable that you could set your watch by it. First, it was the adjustment period. He had been away from football for so long. Of course, it was going to take time to shake off the rust and rediscover his rhythm. That was a reasonable enough argument for the first few weeks. Then it became the offensive system. The playbook was complex. The installation was still in progress. The timing and chemistry with new weapons needed time to develop. Fair enough. Every new quarterback in a new system needs reps to find his footing. Then it shifted to the Achilles recovery. The torn tendon was catastrophic. The rehabilitation timeline was lengthy. His lower body mechanics were affected. His footwork was not where it needed to be. His base was compromised. All of that was medically legitimate, and nobody with any sense dismissed the severity of what he went through physically. Now the narrative has evolved again. Shoulder soreness. Lingering discomfort that is affecting his velocity and his ability to drive the ball downfield with the kind of force this level demands. And some reporters are framing this almost sympathetically, painting Watson as a warrior fighting through pain to compete for his team. But here is where every single one of those explanations crashes into a wall it cannot get past. If his shoulder is genuinely compromised to the point where it explains 6 interceptions in 4 practices, then he should not be on that field. Period. No gray area. No middle ground. If the physical limitations are severe enough to account for this level of dysfunction, then taking those reps is not courageous. It is reckless. It is reckless for Watson because he is potentially making an injury worse by pushing through it without proper rest and treatment. It is reckless for the coaching staff because every rep Watson takes while physically compromised gives them corrupted data about what he can actually do when healthy. And most importantly, it is reckless toward the young quarterbacks behind him who have earned first-team opportunities with their play and are watching those reps go to a player who is not performing at a level that justifies receiving them. The excuse cycle has to end at some point. You cannot keep cycling through new reasons why the results do not reflect reality, while the results keep piling up in the same direction. At some point, the simplest explanation becomes the correct one. Watson is not struggling because of circumstances. He is struggling because his ability to play quarterback at this level has diminished beyond the point of recovery, and the evidence for that conclusion is not hiding. It is standing on a practice field in Berea, throwing footballs to the wrong team 6 times in 4 days. What makes this situation truly unprecedented is not just that Watson is struggling. Quarterbacks struggle all the time. Veterans hit rough patches. Players coming back from major injuries need time to find their footing. That is the normal rhythm of professional football, and nobody expects perfection from a player who tore his Achilles and spent months fighting to get back on the field. What makes this different is that every single quarterback below Watson on the depth chart is either matching him or outperforming him simultaneously. This is not a case where the starter is having a rough week, but the gap between him and the backups is still wide enough to justify his position. The gap has disappeared. In some cases, the gap has reversed entirely. Dillon Gabriel came into this training camp as the third option, a developmental pick. A player the organization selected with the understanding that he would need time and patience before he was ready to contribute at a meaningful level. Through 4 practices, Gabriel has completed 13 of 46 attempts with 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. That is a limited sample with a modest completion percentage, but the touchdown-to-interception ratio is identical to Watson's 3-3, while Watson has nearly double the attempts.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
A player who was drafted to sit and learn is performing at the same efficiency level as the $230 million franchise quarterback. That alone should trigger emergency meetings in the front office. But Gabriel is not even the most shocking comparison. Dorian Green was selected in the 6th round. The 6th round is where teams take flyers on players they like, but do not expect to contribute for years, if ever. Most 6th-round quarterbacks spend their rookie year on the practice squad learning how to be a professional. Green has gone 14 of 17 with 0 interceptions through 4 practices. He has attempted far fewer throws than Watson or Sanders, but the ones he has attempted have been clean, accurate, and turnover-free. A player who most fans had to Google after draft night is displaying better ball security and decision-making than a quarterback who was supposed to be the centerpiece of this franchise for the next decade. When your 6th-round pick is objectively taking better care of the football than your franchise quarterback, the conversation has moved past rough stretch territory into something far more serious. The depth chart is not just being challenged. It is being rewritten in real time by players who arrived in Cleveland with far less fanfare, far less financial investment, and far less organizational commitment than the man whose job they are quietly and systematically taking. And where this roster has to go in September makes everything we have discussed feel even more urgent. Picture the scene. September in Tampa Bay. Raymond James Stadium filled to capacity. The Florida heat sitting on top of that field like a physical weight you cannot escape. Humidity so thick it feels like the air itself is pushing back against you. And standing on the opposite sideline with that familiar fire in his eyes and that unmistakable chip on his shoulder is Baker Mayfield, the quarterback Cleveland threw away. The guy this organization decided was not good enough. The player they replaced with $230 million guaranteed dollars and a collection of draft picks that would have built a foundation for half a decade. Baker found his home in Tampa, and he has been thriving ever since. He found a coaching staff that trusts him. He found a system that maximizes what he does best. He found a confidence that was always there but never fully unlocked in Cleveland because the organization never fully believed in him, and he has never forgotten how it ended. He does not talk about it much publicly anymore, because the scoreboard has been making his case for him louder than words ever could. Now imagine dropping Deshaun Watson into that environment. A quarterback who is throwing 6 interceptions in 4 controlled practices, with no pass rush and no live contact, and no hostile crowd noise, and no September heat and no pressure, beyond the internal expectation of performing at a basic professional level. Take all of those comfortable training camp conditions away, and replace them with Todd Bowles dialing up exotic pressures from every angle. Replace them with a Buccaneers secondary that features legitimate coverage players who will challenge every intermediate and deep throw Watson attempts. Replace them with 70,000 fans creating a wall of noise that makes communication at the line of scrimmage nearly impossible. Replace them with real 300-pound defensive linemen who want to put the quarterback on his back every single snap. What happens then? We already know what happens when Watson faces complexity in a controlled environment. The result is 6 picks in 4 days. Adding live ammunition to that equation does not produce a better outcome. It produces a catastrophe. And on the other side, Baker is going to be surgical because that is what he has become. The contrast between what Tampa puts on the field at quarterback and what Cleveland is considering sending out there is not a competition. It is a mismatch that could set the tone for an entire lost season before it ever had a chance to mean something. Todd Monken has been careful with his words about the quarterback situation, and you can understand why. No head coach wants to create a media circus by publicly declaring a competition that has an obvious answer. No coach wants to undermine a veteran in front of cameras when the full picture of training camp has not been completed yet. Monken has said he wants to see how things develop when the pads come on and the complete offensive installation is in place before making any definitive statements about the depth chart. On the surface, that sounds like patient and measured coaching. Below the surface, it is starting to look like a man who knows the answer, but does not yet have organizational permission to say it out loud, because the information is already there. It has been there since OTAs produced the same patterns we are seeing now. It was there when minicamp reinforced every concern from the spring. It was there last season before the injury when Watson's performance was generating these exact conversations in real time. The financial dimension is the elephant standing in the middle of every room where these decisions are being discussed. Watson's fully guaranteed contract creates dead cap implications that make the front office physically uncomfortable. Walking away from that kind of money is not something any business does without exhausting every possible alternative. And right now, the Browns are in the exhausting every alternative phase of this process, running Watson out there day after day, hoping something clicks even though the evidence suggests nothing is going to click. But here is the truth that separates organizations that win from organizations that make excuses. Dead cap is a sunk cost. That money is gone whether Watson starts or sits or retires tomorrow. The question is not whether you can get the money back. The question is whether you are going to let money you already spent dictate decisions that affect your ability to win football games today and build a future that matters tomorrow. Here at the NFL Update, we have watched franchises make this exact mistake over and over again. Holding onto a declining investment because the financial pain of admitting the mistake feels worse than the competitive pain of living with it. But competitive pain compounds. It does not just cost you one game or one season. It costs you the developmental window of young players who are ready now. It costs you the momentum that comes from making bold, correct decisions at the right time. It costs you the trust of a locker room that can see what the coaching staff is pretending not to see. If you are subscribed to the NFL Update, you already know we cover these organizational dynamics deeper than anyone else in this space. If you are not subscribed yet, you are missing the full story every single week. Hit that button right now and stay with us because this franchise is approaching a fork in the road, and the direction they choose is going to echo for years. Earlier this offseason, Deshaun Watson flooded social media with workout content. Clips of him throwing deep balls in controlled settings, videos of his training sessions looking sharp and explosive and focused, captions about stepping on necks and coming back hungrier than ever and proving every doubter wrong. And in the moment, those posts generated real excitement. Fans watched them and felt a spark of optimism. They thought maybe the work was translating. Maybe the hunger was real. Maybe the version of Watson they paid for was finally about to arrive. Then training camp started, and the gap between the social media version of Watson and the practice field version of Watson became impossible to ignore. The guy throwing perfect spirals in a controlled workout environment with no defense and no pressure and no consequences is not the same guy throwing 6 interceptions in 4 practices against his own teammates.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
The highlight reel culture of modern sports has been doing Watson an enormous favor for months. Someone clips the one beautiful throw he makes on a Tuesday morning and posts it online, and suddenly the comments fill up with people saying he is back. He looks like his old self. Cleveland finally has their guy. But they did not see the 3 interceptions sitting right next to that highlight on the full practice report. They did not see the flutter balls that hung in the air long enough for a defender to read a novel before intercepting them. They did not see the panicked eyes and the locked reads and the decision-making breakdowns that define the complete picture of his performance rather than the curated version. Real leadership does not live on social media. Real leadership shows up in the numbers and the film and the way your teammates respond to you when the work gets hard. Sanders is not making workout videos about dominance. He is going out to practice every day and completing 64 of 91 passes with 4 touchdowns and 1 pick. Green is not posting captions about proving doubters wrong. He is going 14 of 17 with 0 interceptions and letting the work speak for itself. The players who are actually performing at the highest level in this quarterback room are the ones doing the least talking and the most producing. At 30 years old with a reconstructed Achilles, a questionable shoulder, declining arm strength, and a mental processing speed that no longer matches the demands of professional football, the path back to who Watson was in Houston does not exist anymore. The physical tools have eroded. The mental sharpness has dulled. The window has closed. And every additional day this organization pretends otherwise is a day stolen from a future that actually has a chance to be something special. Here is where it all lands. 6 interceptions across 4 training camp practices, more turnovers than touchdowns, outperformed by a first-round pick, a third-round pick, and a 6th-round rookie at the same time on the same field against the same defense. The arm strength is diminished. The decision-making is fractured. The processing speed has fallen below the threshold this league demands. This is not a slump. This is not a phase. This is the complete and honest picture of a quarterback whose ability to perform at the NFL level has reached its endpoint. Shedeur Sanders is standing on that practice field every single day, proving he is ready to lead this franchise into its next chapter. The evidence is overwhelming. The numbers are lopsided. The film is undeniable. The only thing standing between Cleveland and its future is the courage to let go of a past that is never coming back. Drop your prediction for the Week 1 starter in the comments right now. Tell me who you think deserves to be under center when the Browns take that field in Tampa. Share this video with every football fan you know, because this is the conversation the entire league needs to be having. And if the NFL update has been giving you the real story, the complete picture, the analysis nobody else is willing to deliver, then subscribe right now and turn on notifications, because we are covering every single development in this quarterback competition, and you do not want to miss what happens next. We will see you on the next one.